So I met Kausthub in Melbourne, Australia, and that was 15 years ago. And I think the first seminar I went to with him was Deal with the Body, Heal with the Mind, or something like that. And it was just fabulous. It answered questions that I didn't even know that I had. It opened doorways to tools that I didn't even know that yoga had. So I was hooked. So because my relationship with Kausthub has been over a long period of time, I have gained access to the teachings and to a teacher who is there for me. The best of his ability in his life, things happen, in my life things happen, but he's there for me, and that connection is really important in my life. That support that I have to do the teaching that I do back in New Zealand is so important. If something comes up in a teacher training or with a student, I've got somewhere to go. I've got someone who is ready to listen, who will support me, who will question me. He's not going to not ask me difficult questions. He's going to help me keep opening my eyes, and he's got ideas. He's got ideas. Have you tried this with somebody? So I feel completely supported by the teachings and by my teacher. I guess for me, I've never, in my yoga journey, it very quickly became a one-to-one yoga journey. So I don't have much to compare it to. I can't imagine doing what I do without that. So I met Kausthub, and then in Melbourne I moved back to New Zealand. I started teaching in New Zealand, where there was very few yoga teachers in our tradition and nobody that did yoga teacher training. So I did training to become a yoga teacher trainer. I started doing yoga teacher training with support from Barbara Bryan and Kausthub. And I couldn't have done that without that support. I can't imagine continuing to practice in my daily personal practice without someone to go to when things get rough, without someone to go to when strange doors open up, when shit comes up to deal with. So I can't imagine doing it any other way. Absolutely. He's always role modelled that for me. You know, he's been really open with me, and this relationship has built over time and through trust. So even when difficult things have happened in his life and difficult things have happened in mine, we've always had this level of honesty that's enabled me to trust myself, and because I trust myself, I can trust Kausthub. So I live in New Zealand. It's a little bit far from India. And luckily these days there is such a thing as Skype. So I have Skype classes with Kausthub. And sometimes when Skype isn't working, we can talk on the phone. But also I've made a commitment to come to India to study with Kausthub. And Kausthub has made a commitment to come to New Zealand and share the teachings with me and my students there. So for the last 10 years, he's come every year to New Zealand to share these teachings. So I feel very supported by him in that process, and he supports my students as well. It takes commitment, but it's quite easy, really. Well, I haven't really had that many teachers, so I'm quite a loyal person, I guess. Once I found this lineage and felt the depth of it, I didn't feel any need to go anywhere else. So I guess what I find beneficial, and maybe that's unique, is Kausthub's link with the teachings, and the depth of his knowledge and his access to even deeper knowledge. His courageousness and his own personal attempts to be himself as much as he can, which is not always comfortable for him or those around him, and that he is in the process. He's not perfected or at the end of his journey, and that gives me the courage to do my own work. Yes, I would recommend others to study with Kausthub, with the small caveat of you must be ready, because Kausthub is not scared to go places where other people might fear to tread. He's not scared to get in the garden, down in the dirt with the shit. So you have to be ready for that, I think. Well, a New Zealand word, cheeky, intensely deep, and courageous.